Hello and welcome to Stiflenought. This deck works around the combo of Phyrexian Dreadnought, which is a 1 mana 12/12, but it has quite the comes into play drawback. We can counter this sacrifice drawback with something like Stifle, so we get a 1 mana 12/12. We can also use Vision Charm to give it phasing and phase it out so that when it comes back, we don't have to sack anything. So it's kind of like 8 copies of the same card. We can accelerate this combo with Lotus Petal, meaning we can get it as early as turn 1, and we can also slow our opponents down with something like Winter Orb. Being a blue deck, we also have access to card draw. You won't play all of these, but you will definitely play some combination of them. Gush is particularly good with cards that we will see later. It's also worth saying that these cards also see play in some of the other builds, which we'll also get to later. So for counters, we want to counterspell stuff to back up our combo. Daze is definitely one of the most played as it's a free counterspell and it works great with Foil, which is also another free counterspell. Foil also works amazingly with Gush as we can discard those to play it for free. So this deck is probably one of the most customizable decks in Premodern. You can splash any color you want. So black will give us access to discard and hand disruption, and we can also use Limdal's Vault as a pseudo tutor and way to find our combo pieces. White gives us access to Enlightened Tutor, which is an actual tutor for Phyrexian Dreadnought. It also gives us some great ways to protect our combo. Meddling Mage is also good at stopping other decks from doing their thing too. I would say this is one of the more common color combinations that you see. Green also gives us a tutor for Phyrexian Dreadnought in Worldly Tutor, and while it doesn't give us protection, it does give us an alternative plan. It gives us some great beatdown creatures that we can use either to support our Dreadnought, or as a plan B to just beat down our opponents when the combo isn't happening. Red is probably the least played color combination. It gives us Fling, which is another way we can use our Dreadnought in response to the sacrifice trigger. And otherwise, it just gives us a lot of burn that we can use to kill creatures or finish our opponents off. And I'm not going to go into too much detail over the lands because the combinations are endless. You will essentially just play the lands for the deck that you need. You could be a 2-color or 3-color, maybe even a 4-color deck. Who knows? So the sideboards also vary massively depending on the variation that you're playing, but these 3 cards seem to be staples in almost all lists. Several lists also do play Chill as well. It seems to be quite a common reoccurring card. So naturally you'll play the cards for the color that you want. You'll play the staples such as Disenchant effects or Engineered Plague. It's also worth noting that most of these decks play some kind of removal in the sideboard. That will of course vary on the color you're playing. If you're just playing a blue-green version, then you will have to play something like Boomerang or some other less efficient options. When playing this deck, sometimes you're just jamming the combo and trying to win as fast as possible. Other times you're trying to maneuver and get it through a bunch of discard or removal spells. It really depends a lot on the matchup and your hand. We don't really need any specific tools to fight this deck, but we do need efficient creature removal or artifact removal in general anyway, so it's a nice crossover. Also, Meddling Mage can stop the combo entirely if you name Dreadnought, so we are definitely a combo deck. Against other combo and aggro decks, we're mostly trying to just jam a Dreadnought as fast as possible and take over the game. Although of course we do want to clear the way if we can. And against control, those are the matchups where we're more likely to try and maneuver. So the strengths of this deck, it's super powerful, fast and customizable. It also has I win draws from a turn 1 Dreadnought backed up with counter magic. And it can nicely combo again even if they kill the first Dreadnought. The weakness is the combo is much more easy to interact with than other combos. It is a public enemy in that everyone's gunning for it, everyone knows what it is, and sometimes very, very heavy discard can be a problem. So here's an example list for a black-blue version. This one is actually by a guy called Rich Shea, who's an awesome guy, and here we have a blue-white version. But as always, I do recommend checking TC decks. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.